It's 7:52 now at iFiber One News Radio, and I'm happy to have in studio today. We're talking elections with Mason County Auditor Karen Herr. We're also talking with Fina Ormond. And Fina, your position at the auditor's office again is?
I'm the election superintendent.
That's exactly what it is. I was just testing you on that one. Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
We're good, thanks.
Thanks for coming on. We have got an election coming up soon. This is a pretty big deal, presidential all the way down. And so how are things looking? It was a big day yesterday for the final day of online voter registration, and it looked like some big numbers were happening. How's the election looking so far?
It's really ramping up. I'm going to let Fina go over the numbers. I would say since the primary, there is a lot of interest in this election.
Yeah.
We've seen a tremendous increase in voter registration since the primary. Fina just got the numbers. I'm going to let her share those with you.
Yeah, we've probably registered an additional 1,000 people since the primary.
Wow.
And probably 350 just this week that came in over the weekend. So Monday was the last day for online registration. So yeah, probably a third of them came in just this last weekend.
Is that a normal increase on a presidential election cycle?
I don't know that I feel that that's. I mean, we certainly have an increase, but this seems especially.
Does it seem
large.
like people are more interested in casting their vote for the presidency, or is it more lower races? You probably can't tell that.
I don't think they really they don't really share that with us, but it is, we are at an all-time high.
Yeah.
We have surpassed, 37,000. We've never gotten that. I think we're at 37,400. So there, I just wanted to point out that Monday was the deadline for online registrations and mail-in. We had worked with a lot of organizations, including the League of Women Voters, and including our office, going out and conducting voter registration drives. But there's another deadline, which is October 31st.
Okay.
And that is for anybody that has never voted before, just turning 18, or just new to Washington State, or what we're seeing is a lot of people are registering to vote that have never voted before. This has really piqued their interest. So you have until October 31st. So we're going to even be able to increase that voter registration until that time.
That's got to be exciting.
Yeah, so those are people who are not currently registered.
Yeah.
So if your registration has lapsed, or you're not registered, you haven't voted in a long time, so you still have time until October 31st.
And you must come into our office in person to register.
And what else do you need? ID and a bill that has your address on it, or how do we know?
A driver's license is very helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, I saw one sheet on this upcoming election, people were thinking 86% voter turnout maybe. Is that kind of what your models are looking at, or what are you thinking for the Mason County?
That's what we're predicting is the high 80s.
Wow.
You would think somebody that actually took the time to register to vote, that it would be more like, 99%, 100%, because there is so much on this ballot. There is so much, including not just the presidential. But looking at years past and other open seats for president, it's the high 80s. I'm hoping to get higher than I'm hoping to break 90, but that's what we're predicting.
Is Washington State and Mason County traditionally high voter turnouts because of the new, now that we're totally a mail-in state?
Are we higher than other states?
Just in general, is Washington and Mason County upper numbers of the 50 states?
I think we are. I was, in elections when we had the poll sites, and it was a marked difference from poll site voter turnout to all mail. It definitely increased. Lately, it's been a little lagging a little bit, voter registration, for the turnout in the last couple of years, but we don't expect that in this election.
That's a big one, all the way down.
Our turnout is always a little bit higher than other counties. We have a little bit of an older population that is a little more maybe civic-minded, so we do have a better turnout than surrounding counties.
Where can people drop off their ballots, and when are they going to start seeing those ballots?
Okay, we mailed out the military and overseas ballot middle of September. We got them out even earlier than the deadline to make sure that they had ample time to get them back. And the ballots are going to be dropped next Tuesday,
Wow.
October 18.
Oh my gosh.
And because of the high voter turnout and the popularity of the ballot drop boxes, we have hired extra help to help process our ballots and also to retrieve our ballots. So on a daily basis, we're going to have 2 people go to all the ballot boxes, one in Allen, one in Belfair, there's one in Hoodsport, there's one at Fire 4 in the Camilchi area, Shelton Library drive-by, and the one outside of our building where the commissioners are. And they're going to be retrieving those and also then picking them up at the post office. So on a daily basis, that is going to be a daily route for them. In the primary, we had 67% of the ballots were dropped off in the drop boxes. That's the highest we've ever seen it. So I highly recommend that. It does not require a stamp, and you can be guaranteed it will be received on time.
So if you drop off your ballot in one of those drop boxes before the election, are those the numbers that we see immediately at 8 o'clock or whenever the stuff closes? About 8:07, 8:10, we start to see some numbers. Are those the numbers from the drop box, the pickups so far?
And the post office. It's pretty much in Mason County. We usually, the numbers you see on election night is pretty much everything that we've picked up except for that day, except for the election day. We will process everything, what we pick up every day in the drop boxes, and also what we retrieve at the post office.
Oh, wow.
But we normally, or it might be whether or not we get through all of Monday's processing. It depends on the load that we have. But we try to count just as many as that we have processed.
It's Get Out the Disability Vote Week between October 24th and the 28th. What are the options available for those that have disabilities?
Okay, we do have an accessible voting unit that is in our office, and it's available 18 days prior to the election. It provides voters with disability the ability to vote independently and privately. If you are visually impaired, it has an audio ballot to listen to. It is easy to use. You just come into our office, present ID, and it's a touchscreen system. It's easy, and we're there to assist.
Oh, wow, okay.
Anybody can use it, but it's really primarily for voters with disabilities.
So first-time voters, if you've never voted before, you have until the end of October to register. You have to go into an auditor's office. Perhaps if you live outside Mason County, you'll be able to find your Thurston County or beyond auditor's offices, or downtown Shelton is where the Mason County Auditor's office is. It's past 8 o'clock now. We had another interview to get on, so we're a little pressed for time. But what can you quickly, as a takeaway for folks, make sure they get the votes out, get voting and back as soon as possible?
Yes, get your ballot back as soon as possible. We just encourage that. And then make sure you sign your ballot. Yeah, and just... If you have let your registration lapse, you can come into our office and register to vote.
One final thing is, what if your bubbles are a little messy? You know, when you're filling out the names and your bubble, your line, you go outside the line.
There's instructions on the left, and you can just follow them. So if your bubble, you just want to fill the box in completely, but if you make a mistake, you can cross through the candidate that you don't want and fill in the box next to the candidate that you do want. Okay. So, just try to keep your boxes clean as you can. But that's what, but there are instructions. You can just cross out the candidate that you don't want, and then we will follow those instructions. Yeah.
I would like to point out that this year's ballot is tremendous.
Yeah.
There is a lot on it. The size is the largest we've had.
Oh, wow.
And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we have checked with the post office, and it will only require one stamp. I know that's been out in the news. There's some counties that is going to require 2, but it will just require one stamp if you do use the post office.
Oh, wow. And you'll vote on both sides of the sheets? Is there stuff on both sides?
Correct.
Okay, so make sure you look through it totally.
That's correct.
Yes.
And another thing I'd like to mention, I get this question a lot, whether or not you have to vote every issue and measure. There's a lot on this ballot.
Yeah.
No. You can vote on one measure, you can vote on one candidate. So it's not necessary, if to vote on every measure.
Okay.
It's interesting how often I get asked that question. So.
I think maybe 100% or else it doesn't
Yeah, they have
count.
to
That's
vote
correct.
everything,
Yeah,
or they have to mark the write-in box to fill out each box or anything.
Interesting.
So you don't have to do that.
Well, an exciting election, and I know the times are ramping up quick for y'all over there at the auditor's office. Karen Herr, Fina Ormond on the air with me this morning. Thank you so much for being here and talking with me more about this.